Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to my stream. Basically, three topics for today are going to be Epstein, Nazis, and dating. So, Epstein first. Now, this is a disaster. This is just a complete disaster, and it keeps getting worse. It's really, really bad. Um, this might actually be the worst thing that's happened to the Trump administration over the past 6 months. Everything else is drama. This is actually hitting some hard. This is actually hitting them pretty hard, and for good reason because they're obviously lying. Like the entire Trump MAGA movement on the MAGA side is not based on race or ethnicity or Nazism or anything. No, it's not based on that. It's based off of basically telling the truth, which may be shocking to you. That's why Democrats keep saying, "Oh, Trump is a liar." But that's actually one thing. People trust Trump. He might not tell the right details. He might expand on something and say, "I have 20,000 people at a rally instead of 10,000." But like directionally, it tends to be telling the general gist of the truth. And this Epstein thing is him obviously not telling the truth because we know that because there was so much sketchiness involved with the Epstein stuff. The fact that we know that there were all these clients who went to his island, dude. All we know there's a ton of victims. We know that the things that happened, and somehow we don't have any names despite all the documentation of everything going on. That doesn't add up. And of course, Democrats immediately go, "Oh, well, maybe, I mean, Trump was on the island." I don't for a second think that Democrats would not have released unambiguous evidence that Trump did like SA against minors or whatever with if they had anything. Like, do you really think they don't hate Trump? I mean, they really hate the guy. Do you think they wouldn't release the information? Of course they would. So that's not it. Also, it's not just Democrats on the list because otherwise they would be releasing it from the Republican side. Because do you think for 1 second Trump wouldn't release a bunch of information that makes Democrats look bad? No. And then all of this. Oh, so of course that there is some kind of like what force in the universe has power over both Republican and Democrat administrations that all the damage Trump is taking is worth not releasing the list. Now, there's the possibility they're just kind of like ginning up attention to this issue so they can release the voice, it'll be a lot more effective. I don't think that's it. I think the general, among the most perceptive people in politics, opinion of people is that it's either, well, it's a possibility that there's a Saudi Arabian connection, but the most likely option is that it's Mossad. Mossad was running or part of the blackmail ring that Epstein was doing, and that would kind of explain why Israel. Like I'm pro-Israel, pro-Zionist, pro-Judaism, but it would explain why the whole elites of the world are all more pro-Israeli than you would think, given their politics. Like your left-wing people, your right-wing nationalists, and all the leadership classes seem to be pro-Israel. Always they were up until up until 5 years ago when Epstein got caught and then killed in his cell or killed himself in his cell. Yeah, up until that point, everybody was pro-Israel, and then right when he went away, suddenly everybody's way more pro-Palestine. So it's almost as if that there was a blackmail ring that was keeping people in control of Mossad, and the blackmail ring went away when Epstein went away, and then suddenly there's a lot more skepticism towards Israel. Funny that. So it actually would wind up with the Mossad controlling the blackmail ring conspiracy theory, which I think is probably true. It just I don't know another explanation that would really get down to it. Like people are kind of hedging their bets by saying, "Oh, it could have been the Arabs or an Arab prince," and like maybe, but they don't seem to have that much power over Western politics. Mossad does, and this might be how they have control. That's the most likely outcome right now. Also, Epstein is still alive. There's just two. The entire conspiracy theory that he was unalived by somebody else is just too. It was too widespread too quickly, and it wasn't really coming from any real source, which tells me that you know what, he's probably still alive. He's probably still on that island, and we just don't know about it because they propagated the idea that he's dead. Because if he did control so much power, so many people behind the scenes, you don't think he could find a way to get himself out of prison? Of course he did. He probably had a backup plan. And that's what these bastards do. They always have backup plans. He's a sneaky. He's a sneaky pervert. So yeah, of course he has a backup plan. Those kind of guys always have backup plans. Um, yeah. So Mossad was using the Epstein blackmail ring to control everything. To manipulate Russian politicians. Epstein's still alive, and Trump has to lie about it in order to protect Israel. And I say that as somebody who's very pro-Israel, pro-Zionism. And let them have their country; they can defend it. But yeah, and does anybody doubt that Mossad has the sophistication to do this? I mean, they freaking did the whole cell phone attack thing against Lebanon. Like they're very sophisticated. Like Mossad is scary, man. You do not want to mess with them. But yeah, they were probably controlling the Epstein. They're probably the big leaders behind Epstein's whole blackmail island thing. So anyway, I don't know what you can really do about it. I don't know how you handle it. Personally, if I was the Trump administration, I would just release the files. I mean, what is Israel going to do? Like, be mad at us? They don't have any. They don't have any cards. They don't have anything to hold on you, and all it's going to do is hurt you. So, and even from an Israeli standpoint, if the Trump administration goes down based on this, or the MAGA movement goes down based on this, you guys are Israel is screwed because like Republicans are the only people in power in the entire planet that's pro-Israel outside of Israel. And I'm sorry, you can't control the what you can't take on the whole world, Israel. It's not going to work. So yeah, you want us to do well, so they should just release the files, get the blowback done with, and then yeah, be done with it. And then we know at least who's under control and who's not. And maybe Trump is in those files. I doubt it, but maybe he's in them. So what? He's got 3 years as president. You're not going to go after him for this, or at least not successfully. Yeah, so I think they have to just release the files, but this is why they didn't. Next topic, Nazis. Okay, so goddamn, on the right wing, there is a hard right faction that is annoying as hell. They basically the quote that they use is that he wrote a quote where he said, "My spirit will rise above the grave, and the world will see that I'm right." He wasn't right. Hitler's bad. Hitler bad. Nazis bad. Fascists bad. Yada yada yada. All the things I got to say. That said, you got to know why they're bad because the things that people are saying the reason he was bad are not actually going to hold up over the next 10 years. So let's say you say Hitler was bad because he's a nationalist. Well, nationalism is rising. And it's not a short-term thing. People want to make sure that they have their ancestral homelands over the next century. That is a reasonable thing to want. Because if you are a minority, you tend to get treated badly. That's just how it is. That's always been the case. That's one thing the social justice people are right about. Minorities always get treated badly. America's got a different thing going on. We're based on the Constitution. We have a culture, a our conservative culture is actually very similar to the African American culture. So there's kind of there's some really effective brainwashing happening for new people coming in. The whole pickup truck redneck thing, you might hate it, but it converts people to the American culture. Then they go from that culture to a more established culture, like me. Um, but yeah, so that's not going to work. Or if you say Hitler and Nazis were bad because of well, basically that one belief is not going to hold up. So you need to understand like why Nazis were bad. They were bad because they killed people. They started fights they couldn't win. Like honestly, Germany got screwed, and the entire conservative movement in Germany got murdered by Hitler. So it didn't work from a conservative standpoint or from a national standpoint. He killed people, obviously bad. He killed a particular demographic, bad. So, like, the things that made him bad was just the fact that he killed people. So you're like, okay, well, what could cause Hitler to happen? Well, what caused Hitler to happen was that people didn't see that there was another way to get the things to get better. We need to provide a path for things to work for people, work for the natives of these lands, or else they are going to turn to something evil. So, like, really, it's the excesses of liberalism that ended up creating Nazism as a response. So it's not that so we need to put it into a positive tribes, positive nations, positive cultures, or else it will turn negative. It's like a fruit. It will go rotten if not picked. So yeah, instead of like, and then that's what they're doing now. So they're attacking the well, try to do now is they attack all the people who wanted just a sensible culture, sensible nation, sensible lands, and by doing so, they're creating the possibility of there being a much more radical, crazy group that happens. So conservatives are really the best bet for preventing another Nazi takeover, because we're the ones who present alternatives to the current zeitgeist. Because liberalism, individualism, atomized individuals all being alone together, that doesn't work, and it's not going to work long term. What could work is maybe I don't know, having people have families and culture and places that are safe, yada yada yada. Maybe having their own, and not in America. I don't apply this to America, but like in Europe, maybe having homelands that are like their homelands. Like that's not asking for that much, and even have some like mixing of people and everything that can work, but not in the way you're doing it now. And certainly not by just shooting down anybody who votes some point. Arresting anybody who disagrees with you. Yeah, that's not going to work. Next topic, dating. So the issue with the dating crisis is really that like we have restricted the definition of dating so much. Like in the old days, if you were spending time like spending 3 hours with somebody, hanging out, opposite gender, that was considered a date. Like that is a date. Like a man and a woman spending time together, sharing time, that is a date. We have defined it that type of date, the healthy type of date, out of existence. Because now, if you're on a that and there's no like physical getting it on or whatever, it's not considered a date, which is ridiculous. That's not how people have ever worked as far as finding courtship. It used to be you did courtship and then like when you get married, people got it on before they got married, but it's usually like in a premarital state where it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna get married anyway, so let's get it on. No, so people had the expression when you get married, you may kiss the bride. That was supposed to be and has been for most of history the time when people officially got it on. And some people did that, some people didn't, but that was like the official time. And people always brush boundaries. Like if drugs are illegal, people do pot. If speeding is illegal, people go 5 miles above the speed limit. That's just classically how humans work. So you put the date of physical dating on at marriage, and people kind of shifted a bit, like 6 months or a year before the same person. Kind of, maybe a few people got it on more. Okay, and more like promiscuous. Sure, nothing like today. Instead, we put the aisle at well, it's only a date if you actually get it on, which means that people go past that, and so everybody is just a freaking uh incel slut or Chad. All bad. All bad for groups to be part of. I think some people have better lives in that area, but that's basically where we're at. Where we basically have incel sluts and Chads. And they're all bad. They're all morally bad things to do by the definitions of every religion up until 20 years ago. So yeah, that's not tenable. So I went on I spent time with different women. So I watched movie. I have a movie night with every 2 weeks or so. We went to Japan together. We have gone on different day trips together. Uh, didn't get to catch her this weekend. So instead, I hung out with another friend of mine. We go hiking sometimes. We go in the hiking woods, walk around, have deep conversations and all that. And it's like, on the one hand, I'm just friends with both of them. But on the other hand, it's like this should be considered a date, right? Now, of course, like I haven't done anything untoward, so like I haven't like gotten on with either one. Because that would be like, oh, well, that's actually a date. It's like, well, yeah, but I don't want to like get it on somebody unless it's traveling or something. Unless I actually have like commitment. So because I'm a good person, I'm like an average guy. I'm like the average guy where I'm like, yeah, I want to get it on, but like, yeah, I don't want to like commit, but I want to commit before I get it on. But so it's kind of like that's why it makes things so difficult to get together because the way people historically got together has been defined as being not romantic because men and women can be friends. It's like, yeah, men and women can be friends. That's true, but you kind of define romance out of existence by doing so. Is that actually worth it? Um, like individually, I don't care. Like it's nice to have friends, but like as a society, that's why things are falling apart. The only getting it on counts as dating is the reason why nobody dates, or when they date, it's just a complete shit show. So that's my opinion. I think we should bring back men and women can't be friends. I think that is how humans work for most of history, and that's kind of the truth. Um, but anyway, that's why nothing ever works. Only other topics like I don't think any of this is really a disaster. But it could become one. Like, let's say the far right actually gets a foothold. That's bad. We know that. Or let's say that the right wing just loses and we don't have any freedom of speech anymore. That's bad. There's so many things that could go bad. And things are going pretty well right now. So like, don't shoot the horse that you vote in on. Um, but we need to continue down the path we're on. And everybody's saying to get off the path. And no, don't get off the path. Stay forthright. Stay with the path. We know what's going to happen. We say things the way they are. We can fix this. Just don't like burn everything to the ground. Don't shoot the horse you ran in on. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, I got soccer today and it's raining, so we'll see how it goes. All right, cheers.